The dark is dropping like a spot of black ink squeezed into a glass of water. Now the crowds are thinning out into the light down the subway stations. Here this train speeds underground. This train speeds under the river.
Hi, welcome back to Talk Back Fatigues. I'm Shawanda from Teen Empowerment, and these are the YOs. Thank you for joining us for segment 2. We're going to continue to talk about the UnHoly Trinity. We have a new co-host, Fremonte. We're going to show how some of our YOs really have a voice in our city. And so we're going to talk about UnHoly Trinity again. And I wanted to know, a question that I wanted to ask earlier was, how does poverty tie into violence?
I think poverty ties into violence because some people grow up in poverty, like they're born into poverty. You know, they're already born like poor and stuff like that. So without having the certain necessities and having the certain resources that other people have, they got to turn into violence, and they ended up, trying to rob people and stuff like that. But it's really all for good. Little do people know because they're struggling, so they're trying to get it. So I think poverty really plays a big part of violence. You know what I mean? Because if they weren't poor in the first place, who knows, they would have never even had to turn into trying to rob that person or try to rob that person's house. But at the end of the day, we all humans and we all got to survive. So we got to put food on the table. So without the necessary resources or the right people telling us to do right for wrong and stuff like that, you got to survive by yourself. So I feel like people really turn to that, like a lot.
I feel like they tie into each other too because there's a lack of jobs in the city. And being young, being a teenager in the city of Rochester, it's kind of hard to get hired anywhere. Mm-hmm. So I feel like since they can't make the money from doing something that's legal, they'll probably go to any terms, which means illegal, like drugs and stuff like that. They'll start selling drugs and things, and they'll get into other things to try to make that money. Some people survive different ways, and like I said, you got to understand it. People have different ways of surviving. You can do it the good way or the bad way, but you have to survive at the end of the day,
I'm going to go off a little bit what Nas said. A little bit that how poverty ties in violence too is that some people grow up without parents too. So in the streets, they have to provide for themselves, so they go to the streets for the answer. They go to gang members for family and stuff like that to either help or put food and clothes in their bag and in their mouth and stuff like that. So that's another way poverty ties in violence too.
A question I wanted to ask all of you guys was, how does the UnHoly Trinity affect you in your life or your family?
The UnHoly Trinity affects my everyday life by, just being inside of it, Like, every day I witness racism, poverty, injustice. Every day is a new day. So, just because it's a new day doesn't mean your struggle start over, It's still the same thing, and, yeah, that's about it.
I want to add is, it's not just me in it, you know what I'm saying? I got younger ones coming up after me, including, my newborn nieces and nephews, you feel me? And this is the world that they have to be born into with the new president and things like that. Things only just get worse. On top of me being black, I got to deal with racism. Then, even though I'm getting a little bit of cash or whatever I can do to provide for my family, I still live in poverty, which is gonna, people expect me to turn to violence, just like Nasir and Gary said. It's just boom, I gotta do what I gotta do for my family to eat. If I got 2 little sisters, a niece and a nephew to look after on top of my mom because my mom can't do it all on her own, what I'm about to do? I'm head of the household, you know what I'm saying? And the head of the household gotta make sure everybody eats just as well as myself. And that affects, a big part of not only just my family, but even my friends, because my friends got to go through the same thing. Plus, I'm out here losing friends. So it's just a repeated cycle, a setup that I feel like we basically were born into and can't get out of unless you have the right amount of knowledge and are willing to take in, a bunch of that knowledge and actually take the time out of your day to learn and to, go deeper into how to get yourself out of that box.
What Nas was just saying, it kind of makes you think when is it going to be over? Because it's this generational curse that it just continues to happen, and that one of these days you're going to have these children, and you kind of fear well, gosh, will my kids have to go through the same exact thing? And that your great grandmother went through it and her mother, and so it scares you and it makes you question why. And so it kind of pushes you to do research, know who you are, and that's kind of how it affected me. because I didn't notice that I had these mental shackles on, but it was because of who I was, what I looked like. And so it pushed me to kind of break these shackles. So I went to go find out who I was and who I can be. And so now that I know, it makes me feel like, okay, well, once I get out of this poverty, because which I will, I'm not just going to leave and just never come back to my community and attempt to help. Because I know that a lot of times, like when you leave, you feel like, gosh, like these shackles are off, I'm free, and then you don't ever come back. But I know that when it happens to me and these shackles do break, I will come back to my community and I will attempt to help. And so that's just kind of how it affected me. You have to take this negative thing and figure out what the brighter side of it is going to be.
I feel like the mindset that most people have is that they don't understand that the unholy Trinity affects them because they just don't see it. You know what I mean? You have to be woke to even realize that it's even going on around you, because before I even started work at Teen Empowerment, I didn't know nothing about racism and violence and poverty around me. I mean, I knew something wasn't right, but I couldn't explain why. I couldn't put a name on it. You know what I mean? And oftentimes when people see like unfamiliar things or strange things, they start being like, oh, okay, they have to put a label on it. So I was putting the label as, oh, black people are lazy, or nobody just want to get a job, they just want to be on welfare and stuff like that. I didn't really think like, no, this is systemically like being done, this is institutionally being done, this is personally being internalized, and that's the problem. You know what I mean? So I feel like it affects me on an everyday basis, especially me living in the suburbs. Went to school out there, very distinct differences, and it's not oftentimes direct, but it's subliminal. And you can just see like the way that they interact with each other versus the way that they would interact with me. And you could just notice it, and it's kind of like once you get that knowledge, like KJ said, you have to do something with it. You can't just get that knowledge and not do anything with it. You have to spread, because a lot of times those people out in the suburban areas, they don't know what's going on. That's why they're not doing anything about it, because they don't see it. So you have to educate other people once you learn yourself.
I noticed that KJ and Shawanda keep saying that there's a lack of education about this. So what action steps can we take as individuals or as a community to, I guess, empower or to release this education that we feel has been held from us and from our community?
With the lack of education, like, you're not going to learn about what you really go through in school. Like, they're going to keep the same topics. They're going to keep putting these same people out on the front. Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Rosa Parks. They're going to keep putting these figures that they feel like America had idolized for years just because of what they did, and not really talk about, like, the people that are still, like, fighting, but behind the scenes. It's like the lack of education that is given in schools. They're not going to talk about the true black history. They're not going to give you that unless you go to college and take a class on it. Right. And it's like they want the schools just to be like, okay, I'm just going to show you this, and you're not going to learn that until you really sit down and have a conversation with somebody who actually takes this topic, because it's like they don't want you to see the true and the real of America. So I just feel like once you're in the schools, when you're in kindergarten, you're already going to just see these three main people that are basically like our gods in our black community. So
piggybacking on what you just said, right now I'm in the process of taking a class called Rochester's History, but it's built upon, you know, Pan-African American studies. And I just found it so rare that I've been living in Rochester my whole life, and you know, all I really know about black history is, you know, what you just named. I don't really know like more about my history, and I find it so, you know, I was able to appreciate my city more once I realized the history of my actual city. You know, we watched at Teen Empowerment, you know, I've watched the riots back in 1964 and stuff like that, but I never like really, you know, realized like what it was about and why it led to that and what was the outcome of it. You know, I didn't learn about Austin Stewart. You know, I didn't learn about Captain Sunfish or Anna Marie Douglas or Bessie Ham, who, you know what I'm saying? Like, they don't teach us all of this, and all of this took place right here, you know, West Main, Genesee Street, you know, places that we live, places that we're, you know, we see on an everyday basis. And because we don't really know the history behind it, we don't appreciate it as much as we should, you know? And I just find that very interesting because it's like something that they hide from us because they know that, like I was talking to Nas, and he was just basically saying, you know, they when I say they, I mean like the government, you know, white America, they hide education from us because they don't want us to learn how to read. They don't want us to learn how to write because that's the key to the shackles. You know, once we unlock that black royalty and unlock that black education and actually, you know, fly above the standards and the limitations that they hold us at, it's nothing that they could do with us, you know. So I find it very, 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 very positive and you know, informative that education, you know, I don't even know. It's just it's the power, man. I'm trying to tell you.
In order for us to educate others, the first step we need to take is educating ourselves because obviously the government isn't going to teach it or the school system. And the second thing is I feel like all blacks should come together and unite as one before we can go out and unite with other races because there's this whole light skin, dark skin, or who has better clothing type thing. So I feel like we need to all come together with that first, and then we can go out and put knowledge on other races because they're completely blind to what we already know.
Something else I wanted to say with that. Oh, sorry.
From what she just said, I just want to ask, do you think that are they willing to actually make that change to actually come together as one? Because we tried that before and nothing has seemed to work, and it's just like we can't, like we keep on trying and trying, and we just basically giving the white man a label of us, and it's just sad because y'all like we got it's like a group of people that want the best for us, that wants to come together, but then it's this other group that's just being ignorant and they're not really trying to work together. How is we gonna change that for all of us to come together as one?
Well, I feel like it starts with one. You know, it only takes one to pass knowledge. Anybody can be a teacher, whether you're young or old. You know, it starts with one, and no matter how hard things may get, you know, every institution or everything that's starting from something small is always going to have hardships, you know. And if you want it to be a success, if you want it to go far, you have to deal with those hardships, you know. You got to go through the struggle and with as many people as possible so that it can be stronger. You know, one individual can start a whole lot, but it's going to take multiple individuals for it to be seen, you know. That's just the world that we live in, you know. So
it's safe to say that it can start here.
It can start.
Yeah, we can definitely start here. That's what our job is to do, actually.
It's like the whole Black Lives Matters movement.
Exactly.
And like Shawanda,
What everybody else said, is that how can we inform others is that first we have to dig deep ourselves, you know, we gotta persevere, you know. And we gotta actually do the research and find out the facts so that we can relay the messages to other people, you know. We can't give people facts if it doesn't have no background on them, you know. We're not Wikipedia, you know.
Off of what you said, Dasani, it's kind of like with like being one. I kind of feel like you may have been going right here, but like with the Black Lives Matter, we got to be out there trying to convince black people that Black Lives Matter. You know what I'm saying? With other people on the outskirts, you know what I'm saying, letting them know. You know what I'm saying? That is a message that we're trying to send to everybody, but really we got to convince our. The reason why I put this is because that's something that we have fallen into that's become a norm over generations. Because let's be real, when people, like which I was talking about, the Willie Lynch 300 years, that actually did happen. You know what I'm saying? Because the 300-year mark was 2012, and we're still having the light skin versus dark skin war. So some of the things that he put in place are still, like, we're embracing it ourselves. So this internalized thing that we have going on, we kind of like carried it from generation to generation, and that's kind of what we accepted. So until we break out of this syndrome, post-traumatic slave syndrome that we have within ourselves, there is no way that we're going to be able to convince anybody of anything, because it's easy to fool a fool and to tell them that they're being fooled. You know what I'm saying? So really what it comes down to is that everybody, one, needs to be educated. And the reason why I agree with Amina, we have to go get our education ourselves, because we've been arguing basically going to Albany and trying to get 85 to 86 million just for Rochester City School District for 10 years. Trying to fight for fiscal equity, and we still haven't got it. So a whole generation, us, we've been through school the whole 10, 11 years. That's a whole generation going through school, and we still haven't got money that we deserve, and it's been the same amount for that long. Right. So it's the fact that we've been fighting, and it still hasn't been given to us because they don't plan on giving to us anytime. Right. We can keep fighting, we can keep arguing, we can come up with as many valid points as we want, but we're in the same position we were 10 years ago because that's where they want us to be. Right. You know what I'm saying? So one, like I said, break that within ourselves and then realize what we can control and we can affect, and we need to do that in our own. You know what I'm saying? Love our own. Like they said, love your hood and they'll love you back. Right. You know what I'm saying? Love the people around you and they'll give you a love you may not have never seen before. So like I said, within us, we got to break this cycle. You know what I'm saying? Everybody talk about breaking the cycle, but you really got to understand what the cycle is for you to break it.
It's a one thing also. It's a you have to have that self-motivation. It's one thing to talk about one thing over and over again. It's one thing to yell about something over and over again about Black Lives Matter, but do you actually care for Black lives? Like, are you willing to be that role model for another Black life, another young Black life, so that things may change? You know, as a slave, you had to get broken down, and over the years, different generations, they all were taught the same mindset, and something like a slave was instilled in them. Are you willing to be that one individual to instill something different, something greater? It's one thing to talk about something, but actually putting in the action steps to make it a success is the most vital part, actually.
Okay, so a question I have is, what action steps are you guys willing to take to make a change?
I'm starting here working at Teen Empowerment. Just making a change, just using my voice and actually like being on the show, working with everybody here. It's like we starting right now where we sitting at. Basically, it's like we using our poetry, we using our raps, we using our dances, we using our art to basically show like, okay, we could all come together as one and make this movement and make this junk happen ASAP. Look at our president. He about to make us go down for 4 years straight. He gonna be here. But what we gotta do as youth, and especially you growing up in the future, we're gonna have to put the work in to make this change, and it's gonna start right here with everybody else. So that's what we gotta do.
I've been working at Teen Empowerment for 3 years now, and when I first came to Teen Empowerment, I really just came from the streets. You know, I kind of direction to me in a sense of, you know, where I am now. And you know, I straddled the fence for a while, but now, you know, I realized that in order to make that change and actually be that change, you gotta, like Michael Jackson said, you gotta start with the man in the mirror. You really gotta like look at yourself in the mirror and be willing, not just it's not like I don't know who just said it. I believe it was you though. You can't just scream it, oh, I want to make this change, I want to see this change, right. This is going to happen, you have to actually put that foot forth in order to make that change, or you're not going to ever see a change. You know, it's never going to be nothing different. So you got to actually, starting with, you know what I'm saying? Well, I'm starting with myself. I don't know about y'all.
I was actually going to say the same thing. I think it definitely starts off with just like, more than just talking about it, just talking about like, you know, millions of people around the world talk about equality and talk about having equal rights for everybody, no matter what color your skin is. But like, until like Rosa Parks was the first person to say, you know, she the first one that said that, okay, I'm not sitting in the back of the bus. She started that. There probably was a lot of people that had opinions about not sitting in the back of the bus. But it takes for, you know, that one person within themselves to be like, look, I feel like this is wrong. I'm going to stand up about it and make action. And then it's only right that people that feel the same way about it will do the right thing. So I definitely think it definitely starts with you yourself.
I remember like when I was younger and I used to like really be heavy into rapping, and my dad used to make these type of like raps where he was talking about this stuff. But me being young, I never really understood. So I'm like, I'm just saying it, but I'm not really knowing what I'm saying. So then like getting older, I really like started getting back deep into it, and that's when I went and got a job at Teen Empowerment. And one of your requirements at Teen Empowerment is to write pieces, and that was something like I was good at. So like on top of them giving you the knowledge, you had to take the knowledge and flip it and show what you learned. And the best way I could show that was through my poems and my raps and stuff like that. And that's how, like, you know what I'm saying, that was my foot forward, you know what I'm saying, using the talent that everybody, that's like one of the biggest things, especially in Rochester. Everybody want to be a rapper, everybody want to be a dancer, everybody want to do one of the two, you know what I'm saying, and everybody listens to music make the world go round, right? So if you want to listen to music, listen to the most positive music, like this piece that me and Fremonte have. Like I said that, like, you know what I'm saying, like, jeez, hold on, wait for it. I said, they don't teach you this in class, yet you still pass weight. That's how they're making smart dummies, teaching us halfway. You heard of Steve Biko, history's deeper than it seems. They're trying to keep us lower than them by any means. 12 years of school spent learning the same thing. I think I forgot a line, but you get the point though. You know what I'm saying? Like, if they not teaching you this in school, and they have the choice to opt out what they teach you in school. They don't. We stuck in Luther's dream, bro. That's all they teaching you in school. Martin Luther King for 12 years straight. Like, when is we really gonna get to the people that actually went forth to make this change? That went to Africa and was actually learning about things in Africa and tried to bring that back and got assassinated and never heard from again. You never heard how they died. It was a doctor that my dad was just showing me that knew how to cure like cancer, AIDS, all that, and he put it all over YouTube. They killed him. And then tried to say he went missing, and they don't know where he is. Like, this is things that you have to be, you gotta educate yourself, just like Amina said. You know what I'm saying? And the way that I'm gonna do it is through my music. Because if you listen to music and you recognize real music, you're gonna really listen to what I say, and you're gonna search up certain things that I say. And once that goes, I mean, everybody can either follow the train or get off. You know what I'm saying? And if you get off, you're just gonna be stuck with everybody else. I'm not trying to have my people stuck. So I'm gonna lead that train.
Everybody want to follow a new trend. Why not make your trend positive so that people be like, they really see like, okay, this is what I really want to be on. Like, everybody want to be on this new, like, the music way, the media. Like, it's just everybody trying to be this one person, and it's like, why not be that one person to be different so everybody can get on your wave? You feel me? It's like everybody gotta survive. Everybody want to do something. Why not be that person to do something positive and push us and educate us on like what's really going on in our world and what's really education and what's really going on in our community? If you feel me, like, you want to be that leader and have people following you for the good and not for the bad.
Change too also is don't wait until something traumatic happens within the community or within your family or within school or whatever you're...
Even yourself.
Yeah, even in yourself. Don't wait until traumatic happens to want to make a change, whether it's in yourself or in your outside, your community or anything. Just don't wait until that traumatic experience, because what's the use? You could probably have prevented that traumatic experience, you know, if you would have just... Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
A lot of people want to speak up and want to make a change, but everyone is scared. Like, everyone has a fear of something that's going to happen, but you have to, like we said, like make a sacrifice for what you willing to do. And like I think it was Shawanda. She was telling me one day, she was saying that when we was our group, she said, like, you could work for what you want to do, but are you actually going to yeah. You can come back to me.
The biggest problem with our generation is resistance. So one thing that I would do is target those groups of people that don't want to hear what I'm saying. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because I got two little brothers. One of my little brothers is up under my mom, but my other one want to be out here in the streets. You know what I'm saying? So I make it my business to get him and all his friends to come to all of our events, because I know this is stuff that they need to hear. And they don't want to listen to it, but then they come, they be like, oh, that's hot. Like, you know what I'm saying? Oh, y'all rapping, y'all singing, y'all dancing. Oh, y'all dope. Like, you know what I'm saying? I want to come to the next one. Then they tell their friends, like, yo, y'all just missed it. And they had free food. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I just feel like that's the, that's the audience that I would want to get, like, people that don't want to listen. And, like, being somebody that's not too much older than them, they gonna listen to me more than they listen to an adult. You know what I'm saying? Like, my brother will come to me before he comes to my mom or his dad. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like just targeting that concentrated, like, group of people, like, you know what I'm saying, people that have a problem with listening. Like, I'm gonna make you listen now.
Right. Do y'all use your events to convey your messages as far as like?
That's
exactly what we do.
So, I mean, do you guys have an event coming up that will be conveying?
Yes, actually.
Every event that we have is to educate our community. It might not.
Get a pitch. Go ahead.
No, I have some for you. Actually, it's an event coming up on February 23rd at Brew Coffee, 6 to 10. You know, free food, free drinks. You know, all positive messages. You know, just come outside the comfort zone. You know, it's live art, poetry, rap, dancing, everything and whatnot. You know, it's all friendly fun. You know?
Positive vibe.
You said,
And it's youth led. Everything is youth led.
And every event that we have coming up is to educate.
There'll be
our community on
education,
how we
so
can make
make
it
sure you
better.
pay attention to what's being said.
live, and they said again, it's live art in the city of hopes and dreams at Brew Coffee on the corner of Genesee and Brooks.
Hosted by Teen Empowerment.
Hosted by Teen Empowerment, by the youth, not the adults. Doors open at 6. Doors close at 8:30, but it's over at 10. Get there early. Have fun, enjoy, and thank you for coming and joining us in Talk Back for Teens. It was great talking to Teen Empowerment. Thank you.
And it's free admission.
Y'all know it's time for y'all to take y'all shots.
Run down, restrain, sound, then line up. You can fly.
See, I did good, man. Y'all ain't need me, man.
I feel it right here in my heart. That hurt.
Run down, hold the smoke.
Start from the top. Sorry, Tia.
With a blade, bust the crown. Call the hour, call the name. Past the dawn, snap the chain. You can fly, you can fly, you can fly, you can fly.